Wow, nothing has changed in 27 years.
How amazing is that?
Oh.
I ate a big Mexican
I ate a big
on Thursday
Mexican.
night. You know?
Big booty Latinas.
I'm better than Dana White.
You're better than Dana White.
I want to perpetuate the philosophy that was drilled into our Constitution by the founding fathers.
I'm a baby back, bitch.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you go in to do an objective was not set.
Right.
Did you lose the war? That's a valid question.
That's a valid question.
If you've made it this far in the podcast, should we look up a fun fact here? You've got this. You've got the stuff. Let's look up situationals.
Situations. Fun
news.
fact.
You got any news outlets, news broadcasts? You wanted to touch on today?
Ooh, actually, I have something very interesting. I
hostage
wish I
or-
brought it with me. Maybe I'll take some photos. Maybe I won't. Who knows? But so my parents came over for the weekend, seeing my place for the first time, and we were going through kind of like a little time capsule, hope chest kind of thing. And part of that was they put a newspaper in the day I
Is
was
this part
born.
of the podcast?
Yeah.
Are we not introducing?
We'll get to it.
Okay. all right. Okay.
So it's like this hope chest, right? But they put a newspaper in the day I was born.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So we looked over that, and dude, it made me feel a little insane, to be honest with you, looking at this newspaper, because I felt like all the headlines were the same as you would see on today's headlines.
Really?
It was like stock market going to crash ? It was straight up Israel and Hezbollah.
Oh yeah.
I shit you not. Nothing has changed. Zero. It was fascinating. I was reading through this paper and I was like, you sure you didn't get this from today?
The media
it says 1996.
The media stoking the flames of fear. Yeah, I don't expect anything less.
Wow, nothing has changed in 27 years.
How amazing is that?
Oh.
I am day 5 on a
Quattro.
week-long fast.
I know. I'm so impressed by you, dude.
I know, dude. I did. We're dealing with 24-hour water fast.
Mm-hmm.
I did a 24-hour only water fast. So Thursday night, I ate a big Mexican dinner.
Mexican.
Yeah,
That's a good one to go out on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it really is.
Filling.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you really got to throw the word dinner behind that, because otherwise it's really awkward.
Yeah.
I ate a big Mexican on
big
Thursday
Mexican.
night. You know,
Big booty Latinas.
a big old Mexican on Thursday night really filled me up. So did that. Weighed myself. I came in at about 194. Started the water fast. Did that for 24 hours, and then did bone broth 2 to 3 times a day, depending on if that was a day that I worked out or not.
Yeah.
And then after 72 hours, I did another 24-hour water fast, and now I'm on the bone broth until tomorrow.
Tomorrow night, right?
Tomorrow night,
Yeah.
and then it will be it's my wife's birthday dinner, so I'm gonna go out and eat with her, and then we've got Thanksgiving. So
You're gonna carb crash so hard after that dinner, dude.
yeah, I know it's gonna be brutal. But I can tell you that with all certainty that my mental clarity has never been more on point.
You seem really calm and really focused.
Yeah, I'm very focused.
Yeah.
So I have a problem with focusing, as you know. Got pretty
Don't know what you're talking about.
pretty wicked ADHD. And there's still issues. I mean, it's not a cure-all, but there's this little nutrition shop that I stop by every morning, and it's like they supplement you with like guarana, and it's supposed to help with mental focus and clarity. So
that's cool.
Yeah, just trying the all-natural approach, man. I refuse to do anything that affects me from the neck up with sobriety.
Right.
I'm not going to take Ritalin or
Not messing with that
Adderall
Dr.
or
Dope.
anything like that. No, nothing like that. I
What's
mean,
the,
amphetamine? It's just an amphetamine. That's all Adderall is anyway.
Yeah.
So, what's what?
I was gonna say, what's the bone broth that you're on? What are you getting?
It's Kettle and Fire.
Nice. That's a good bone broth.
It's a good
I can
bone broth.
see I can see the cow on it right now.
Yeah, yeah. It's Kettle and Fire. It's really good. They got like chicken and beef, and they also have some like with turmeric and ginger that are pretty good.
So good.
There's a lot of sodium in there, but it's necessary when you're on a fast. So that particular Kettle and Fire, I think, is they build that for people who fast, because
really?
you can get bone broth.
Right.
Bone broth is typically very low in sodium, or it's not low in sodium by any means, but other bone broths that you can buy are a lot lower
Yeah.
in sodium. I think the one that we get from Costco is 150 milligrams of sodium, but the Kettle on Fire is like 650, 700, or even 900, depending on like which you're buying, right? If you're buying the turmeric and ginger, I know it's a lot higher. But the point of
is that added sodium?
I think I don't know. I don't know if it's added sodium. I know that it is organic, which is definitely what you want to get when you want to get bone broth for fasting. And when you do get bone broth for fasting and you are fasting, either drink a shit ton of electrolytes and then supplement your protein with bone broth, or just drink the bone broth or the Kettle on Fire bone broth rather, because if you get Kettle on Fire, the reason why there's so much sodium in it is because it's an electrolyte, so it will
keep you from cramping up,
and allow the water to actually maintain inside of your body. I'm not a doctor by any means. I don't recommend that anybody goes on a 7-day fast like I'm going
sure
on.
You are Dr. Halfcock.
I'm Dr. Halfcock. But I can say with all certainty that I thought I was going to be completely dissolved of energy, and I was going to have lack of mental focus. I thought, because sometimes when I get hungry, I can't focus. I get moody, and there has been some instances where I've probably had a little less patience, but for the most part, I definitely think that it is like calmed me down. I feel good. I'm not bursting with energy, but I've been able to sleep good.
Really? It's helped you sleep?
Yeah. Well, I normally, so it actually I've maintained the same level of sleep that I did before. Now I've gone through stages of like heavy dieting, and I've slept very poorly through those diets.
Right.
Because just hunger will wake you up. Yeah. But for some reason, when your body goes into a process of ketosis and it's just using the actual fat on your body to be able to produce the energy, and for some reason, the way that I'm doing it right now with heavy electrolytes and bone broth, holy shit, man. It's just, I don't know. I didn't expect this, is all I'm saying. It was hard on the first day or two, but after that, it just kind of goes away. And I could probably sustain this diet if it weren't unhealthy.
Right.
I could probably sustain this diet in perpetuity. It's really not.
I feel like I need to try it now.
Yeah, it's really not as difficult as I thought it would be. But be careful, because like if anybody's listening that's thinking about doing the fast thing, when you go into anything with the expectation of it being really hard and then it's not as hard, it's always better. Right. So if I'm sitting here telling you it's not really that bad, and then you get into it and you're like,
this is brutal.
Yeah. So, so every account that I heard from anybody was like, it's really difficult and you're going to have a hard time and it's going to be tough. And then I was like, oh, it's not nearly as tough as I thought it was. But it was an expectation that I had
of it just being miserable.
Yeah. Of it just being miserable.
And then you're like, I was in a Humvee in Afghanistan.
Yeah. Absolutely. So anything, could be potentially better than that. I will say this though, last couple things on the fasting, because this isn't an entire podcast about fasting, but
yes, it is.
It is super important to note that one, it's really good for apparently it crushes cancer.
Right.
And I think the reasons for that is when you really cleanse your body and you get everything bad out of your body, and your body is actually just eating the fat cells that are currently on your body, it's also eradicating everything that could potentially be bad for your body. So, instead of it trying to fight off all the nasty shit that you're putting in your body, it's focusing on
the liver has time to reset, clean itself out, and really filter out the blood.
Yeah. And I have a feeling that a lot of it has to do with, your white blood cells are able to go to work and like start, doing work on cancer cells, things like that.
Are they able to punch out and go to work?
Well, I probably shouldn't even have called them white, to be honest with you. Right. Because, what if they identify as
fair?
Color
you didn't
or something
ask him.
Like that. I know.
You didn't ask yourselves.
I didn't. So
we apologize.
There's that. I will also note that on Thursday night, I weighed in at 194.
Yep.
And this morning on day 5, I weighed in at 180. And
nice.
Yeah. And I also want to say this, that I worked out 48 hours into my fast on Saturday afternoon. And one of the best workouts I've ever had in my life.
Really? Did you just feel full of energy?
I couldn't stop working out.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was fucking incredible.
That's so great. I love those workouts.
I know. I was like, and again, maybe an expectation, because I went in expecting like, look, I'm probably not going to be able to get more than 20, 30 minutes out of this workout, and I'm going to be gassed because I don't have any.
You're like, I'm going to try and curl a 20-pound weight, and it's just not going to get up.
Yeah, I don't have any calories, right? But on the contrary, I was dipping 3 plates. So what I do is I throw
Yeah, the belt. And,
the belt with the chain, 45 pound plates.
Yep.
I was dipping sets of 10.
That's impressive.
45 pound plates. I normally dip 2 plates, and I was like, fuck it, dude. I'm gonna try 3. I'm feeling pretty good. Knocking out 3 plates, 10 sets.
Hell yeah.
Or not 10 sets, 10 reps.
10 reps.
3 sets.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's next level. If anybody is looking to do it, I know it's incredibly healthy for you. It's amazing. And then you could say that you've done it, and if you ever want to know if somebody's, fasting or on a fast or on a diet, do you know how to tell if they're on one?
They're not eating.
They'll fucking tell you.
Yeah, I'm fasting.
Just like I did.
Yeah.
I do
First
the
thing,
same.
I'm fasting, bro.
Yeah. It's that old joke that's like, how do you know if somebody's a vegan? They will tell you. They will tell you they're a fucking vegan.
You don't need to figure it out.
What prompted me is I saw something from Dana White, who got it from Joe Rogan, about, I think that was the lineage of the whole fasting phenomenon. Is Joe Rogan started talking about the benefits, interviewed the right people. Dana White got a hold of it. Dana White did it. Dana White had a huge transformation in a period of 84 hours, right? Where you see his before and after pictures. And I'll show you my before and after pictures after 84 hours as well. I took them.
Nice.
So we'll put them up on the video here. You'll be able to see, day 1 and day kind of 3.5, right? Which is 84 hours. So, you noticeable difference in him, probably more so than even me.
Well, he kind of looks like a bloated baby.
But noticeable difference in him. And so what I did was I was like, well, fuck it. If Dana White's going to do it in 84 hours, I'll do it in 166 hours.
Right.
And that was kind of my mentality to kind of go an entire week, but it'll actually end up being 6 days. So not quite double Dana White, but anyway, it was kind of a big fuck you to the whole process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So pretty much what you're saying is
I'm better than Dana White.
you're better than Dana White. Which reminds me, have you seen did you see King Pix's short of where he's sitting there and he's like, so we all know Tim Kennedy. And he lists off Tim Kennedy's his resume, right? And he's like, I looked him up. I'm bigger than him.
I'm big. I'm big.
Just saying.
Like a bigger human?
Yeah.
Like he's just a bigger man than
bigger.
him?
He's like, I'm bigger than him.
I'm bigger than him.
He's like, I'm just saying.
Just saying.
It's so good.
That's
if you guys
awesome.
haven't seen it, go watch King Pix Media. He's phenomenal.
Nice.
He's
Is that the one that
hilarious.
you commented you're also the best content creator on the internet right now? Yeah, I saw that.
He is the best. I will give him that.
Very cool. Yeah, he's doing really good. And he's a one-man show. I mean, the fucking guy films, edits, scripts, everything himself.
He might have some other people working with him, but
he said on his Instagram live just last week, unless he was lying. Yeah, he said, I do everything.
That man doesn't lie.
He said, I do everything myself. He said,
That's phenomenal.
I set up the camera myself, I film myself, I edit myself, I script myself. So
You know what we call that, kids? A winner.
yeah, that's doing the damn thing with no excuses.
Right.
And, I believe he's in the military right now at the same time.
Yeah, something like that.
So yeah.
Would
not disclose what he did or what his rank was, but I'm pretty sure I got it out of him. I dug deep into the comments one time, and somebody said he was replying to somebody at one point in time. So I'll just say it here. And somebody said, "What are you a private or something?" They were talking some shit, and he said, "No, this is satire. I'm actually a first sergeant, right?" And yada yada yada. So I don't know, as first sergeant of what? With the whole Wins Chow thing, I started thinking, like, is this dude
combat cook, dude?
Was he a combat cook, right? But then I was like, no, it's just, I think that's more of Wins Chow is just a general question that we all ask in the military and everything. Yeah. So anyway, that being that, welcome to the
2A Procast.
2A Procast.
Yeah.
Where, brought to you by Tacticon, where all of your tactical dreams come true.
2A Pro by Tacticon. That's why we got the sign, so you guys could never forget.
Knows. Yep.
It was so I couldn't forget.
Yeah, today we're going to feed the trolls. It's going to be an excellent episode. May go off on a couple tangents,
I hope
as
so.
we usually do, and it will be exciting to talk a little bit of poo. It's been a while since I did that, and shit's getting crazy around here. It's nice to just come in here and relax and talk to the camarados.
It is. It's a relaxing space here.
I feel like today's video was fucking fantastic on the Black Friday video. I really had a good time doing that.
I think so as well.
Man.
For those wondering, saying today's video, We're talking about.
Yeah, this is not filmed in real time.
We filmed Tuesday.
We filmed Tuesday for the
And-
Black Friday video.
And it will be going up Wednesday, and then you'll be seeing this Saturday.
God, it was just.
It
Yeah,
really
felt-
came together.
It came together. Yeah,
It was a meshing of minds.
I liked
It
it.
was a good time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right on. So, who is the first shit talker on our list?
So let's get through this. So some of them are going to kind of be redundant. They're going to kind of say the same thing. The reason I put those in there is just because I find it hilarious, the robots that exist within the internet.
Oh, yeah.
That just say the same thing.
Yeah.
But we're going to start out with this one because I love this. It really brings out how demasculated some men are, especially on the internet.
Demasculated men. And with that, I'm going to pause and say, if you have not joined the Discord group, get in there and join it, because there's all sorts of chicanery, debauchery, and all of the sorts within it. It is an amazing place to be. It's an amazing thing to see, and I am proud to be a part of it. It's fantastic. It is discord.gg/2
There'll be a link.
2A Pro or something like
Yeah.
that. Yeah, but there will be a link in the description. Anyway,
If you need, if
Yeah.
you need any more reason to join that Discord, we do giveaways and fun stuff like that.
we do a ton of giveaways.
We're
Yeah.
actually doing a giveaway right now. You'll probably not be able to be a part of it because it's going to be done, but we're giving
What are you
away
giving away?
3X magnifiers.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so that
Right on.
box of magnifiers that never got put into inventory.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, getting
on.
rid of those.
Sweet.
Yep, it's like
That's also
30,
good.
so 30 people are getting them.
Right on.
Yeah.
Got some new shirt drops coming, and
Ooh, shirt drops.
shirt drops.
Yeah,
Very
you'll be
cool.
the first to know on the Discords.
The another really cool thing that we're doing over on the old Discord is
Overtly.
we typically do like heavy discounts
Facts.
on Discord that we won't give to the general population, or we will tell you about the discount before the general population gets it, so you can get everything before it's out of stock. And back to emasculation.
Emasculation.
Nice.
It really shows the emasculation of these men sometimes. From Muddy Suds 6550. He said, and this was to one of my videos. I forgot to screenshot which video it was, but it was probably one where I was talking about guns and the government. But anyways, he said, "You really think you're going to win against a tyrannical government? Don't make me laugh."
Okay,
To which I responded, "And that's why no one will remember your name."
and that's why no one will remember.
To which
you.
he responded, "I do not care." Which brings me to my first tangent. As a man, do you not just daydream about the Roman Empire? I'm just kidding. That's stupid. Do you not, like, who hasn't thought to themselves, a man, like, what am I going to do in my life that's going to go down in history?
Yeah.
That's like we were talking last week, where these kids just want to be influencers and they don't want to be astronauts anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. So one big thing for me, I have readjusted all of my fire and all of my fuel into a particular mission.
I like this.
And the mission is, in this point in my life, all I want to do for the rest of my life, as far as a mission goes. And this is aside from being a husband and a father and all the things that we do, but talking about leaving an impact on our society, it is to support and uphold and be a part of and a huge component of the Second Amendment.
Yeah,
So
I completely agree.
that is all I want to do. I want to perpetuate the philosophy that was drilled into our Constitution by the founding fathers. I want I want everybody to understand what it is meant for. I know this is going to sound absolutely delusions of grandeur.
Love it.
But ultimately what I would like to do is be able to go on speaking tours about the Second Amendment and the importance of it, educate kids in school about the Second Amendment and the importance of it, get invites to certain events to talk about it. Also do that through what we're doing with 2A Pro and what we're doing with the 2A Pro course and helping people build businesses inside the Second Amendment.
Yeah.
Like that, there's nothing more important to me right now than the Second Amendment when it comes to any political issues, anything that you could possibly talk about is there. I guess, let me reword that. The only thing that is going to guarantee our security and our survival for the remainder of us as an American civilization, if we want to be free, is guaranteeing that we are able to protect ourselves and having the same armaments as our military does and our government does, or similar armaments, right?
Yeah.
And so that's why it's important to me, because if we want to leave a legacy and if we want our children and our children's children and, 10, 15 generations down the road to experience the same level of, or hopefully better levels of freedom that we are experiencing right now and the same opportunities that we're experiencing right now, then this notion of regulating something that is a right for us inherently, a God-given right, a right that was set forth by our founding fathers, this shall not be infringed. And so if I really do want to make it my life's work. And I've been doing a lot of thought about that. And I've noticed that like my mission has focused from Tacticon's, like giving everybody, like our mission and statement is, providing affordable firearm gear for every American citizen, yada, yada, yada. But really what that focus is going to start being is how do we keep the Second Amendment alive?
How do we preserve it?
How do we preserve it? How do we preserve and protect it?
Yeah.
That's it.
Preserve, protect, and empower it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, no, I completely agree. Like that's funny you say that, because for those who are watching, listening, we actually haven't really like discussed that, which is interesting. But that has been my mindset recently. Like every time I see a comment on the internet of people like, why do we need guns? Explain to me why we shouldn't ban these things. More and more, I'm like, why? For me, I'm like, well, now it's becoming my life mission even more to just be like, I'm dying when the Second Amendment dies.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like my life is going to be to bolster that, to build it up. So
absolutely,
that's super fucking cool. Weird, crazy.
Yeah, it's weird that we're on the same wavelength, and that's really. So I'll say something. Okay, this is an interesting little social media nugget that I came across a tiddlywink, if you will, or if you won't. In the not too distant past, I came across something. It was pretty funny. It said, if you want, it was a female saying it. And she said, if you want to stop men from sexually harassing females in the workplace, then ban women from the workplace. Right?
Yeah.
And then she went on to say, immediately after that, that's how gun regulation works.
Yep. There's another great argument that is, there's another great one exactly like that. And it's, if you want to stop rape, just cut off all dicks.
Right.
Right. That's how gun control works.
That's how gun control works.
Yeah. Or if you want to stop rape, cut off your dick.
Yeah.
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 Like you will probably never rape someone in your entire life. Hopefully.
Well, you could still sexually assault.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Assault.
Sexually
assault.
Yeah. So that it's a valid point, it's a valid argument. But going on to this legacy, like nobody will remember your name, that thing. And so going back into also what I was talking about is there is no better legacy, in my opinion, to ever leave than the written word. The written word in the form of a book is typically the longest kept historical documents that we have.
Truth.
Right? Mm-hmm. I mean, we've got books from, they're centuries and centuries old.
Not Mesopotamian tablets, dude.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you want something preserved and you want to go down in history and you want people to remember your name, you're going to have to do something that would be warranted of somebody remembering your name, and then get good at it, be passionate about it, and then write about it. Because that is a tattoo in your lineage.
Right.
And so that is something that I'm excited to do, hopefully one day.
First, we got to get good at it.
Yep.
And then we write the book.
First, you got to, okay, yeah. It's really important. And I know it sounds very simple, but there's a lot of a
lot of steps to that.
There's a lot of idiots out there.
Right.
Writing books, having courses.
I can think of a few of them.
My God. Yeah. There are some people that should
Karl
not be.
Marx.
Yeah. Just dudes.
Mein Kampf.
Yeah.
It's terrible books.
Yeah, they're terrible books. Yeah, these are dudes that are just running around and even in modern day society that are just like, I wrote a fucking download my ebook on how to run an online business. I'm like, you don't even have an online business.
His online business is getting you to download his ebook.
I know. Is to teach you how to run an online business. That is my business.
Yeah. First you write an ebook, then you get people to buy it.
Yeah. So,
anyways.
I just got a notification that, like in real time, which won't be real time for anybody reading this or listening to this, that I guess Israel got a deal on. Israel made a deal on the hostage release.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I didn't know there was a hostage situation.
You didn't know there was a hostage situation, and
I really haven't been paying much attention to it.
you didn't know that Hamas took a bunch of hostages?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, they did.
Okay.
And apparently there was a some level of hostage. Let's see if I can find it real quick. It just got hit. Israel approves hostage deal with Hamas.
Does that mean
A deal that would see the release of at least 50 hostages, women and children from Gaza. Why are we celebrating the fact that they're releasing people that shouldn't be captured in the first place? But this is the world we live in. According to an Israeli government statement, it's what expected to result in the first sustained pause in fighting and major de-escalation steps since Israel's war with Hamas began. This
hold on.
Fucking infuriates me, dude.
Question. Could we say that Israel just negotiated with terrorists?
That's exactly what's happening. Hold on. I really hope that they make all the concessions to Hamas and get every hostage released and then take it all back and go in there and fuck their shit up. Because here's the deal. A 4-day truce in Israel's air and ground campaign in Gaza. Okay. So they're going to
40-day air
4-day.
4-day. I was like 40 is a lot.
No, 4-day air and ground assault. So there are a total of 239 hostages being held captive right now.
So Israel made that deal, but the U.S. didn't.
No, the U.S. did not. Yeah. So
the
sure,
reason
they
I
can
say
stop.
that is,
Obviously, the mass abductions took place on October 7th. When the militants went in. Executed a bunch of people. So the reason why this is terrifying to me is because, okay, so this is expected to result in the first sustained pause in fighting and major de-escalation steps since Israel's war with Hamas began. Okay, so you're going to continue to make concessions to get all these hostages released. You're feeding into the agenda. These guys, like them or not, are fucking smart. They were like, hey, we're going to go in, we're going to kill a bunch of people. You know how we're going to get away with it? We're going to take a bunch of people, and to keep them from fucking our shit up, we're just going to hold them hostage and release them when we want them to stop bombing us, when we want aid, when we want humanitarian assistance into Gaza, right? Mm-hmm. We'll release a few hostages, and they'll come in, they'll help us out, and then, we'll keep doing that. And then when they start bombing again, we'll do it again. And they will continue down that path until there are no more hostages. And by the time there are no more hostages, there will probably have been so much negotiation that the entire fucking war has ended. And then guess what's going to happen again? The same shit that happened on October 7th. It's just going to be a fucking cycle because they're never going to stop because you can't kill a fucking ideal.
Right.
Okay.
You can't.
Who else is talking shit on it?
That's fucking. That's just like Batman, right? You can't kill an idea.
Yeah. You sneak a peeks on.
I was wanting to look at a map here of Israel and Palestine, seeing what was going on. Because I thought Israel was much more surrounded by Palestinian land, but I guess it's more Palestinian land surrounded by Jewish land. But I mean, I guess everything
Palestinian land surrounded by Jewish land? No, dude. Like
that's what I'm confused by this map. Look.
So the Jews are completely surrounded.
That's what I thought, but it's showing the green as Jewish state.
It is.
Okay.
Absolutely is.
But then everything else.
Well, look at Jordan,
right.
Syria,
Egypt.
Lebanon, Egypt.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, they are fully surrounded.
So the reason I looked that up is because I don't have a whole lot of opinions on what's currently going on, but I find it very interesting when these people are like free Palestine, but like the Jews have like this one small spot and then like everything else around them is all Muslim controlled.
Yeah.
It's like, wait. Wait.
I don't know, man. Yeah. I know we need to close our fucking borders so they can't come here. That's what I know. And
Yeah.
that's what we really should be focusing on right
Yeah.
now.
You know, Ben Shapiro's been pretty loud about his feelings recently. And,
But he has not been quiet.
he said something very, very accurate the other day, and somebody was like, we should accept all the refugees from like Gaza. And he said, nope, no, we absolutely should not. And I was like, damn, something I wholeheartedly agree with.
A little side note, do you watch the presidential debates at all? Or the
I haven't been.
for the nominees?
No, I've been making gun
Republican
content.
nominees. Yeah, you have been making a lot of gun content. So Ramaswamy is okay. I love him or hate him, whatever you guys think. I don't know. Leave your comment down below. I definitely want to hear what you have to say about this guy. But this dude is like the next I don't give a fuck who you are or what I say type guy. Now that
sounds great.
Dude, he used his entire initial block of time on the initial part of one of the last debates to talk about, so CNBC hosted it, right?
Oh God.
So
Why can't we get a presidential debate hosted by Rogan?
I know that's exactly what he fucking said. He literally, those are the words that came out of his mouth. So I think
actual neutral
he
party.
said, you know what? I'm not even going to answer the question. He said, you know what I am going to address? The fact that we've got this liberal fucking news media sitting here asking us questions that are not going to be important to the Republican voters, and who should be in your seats are guys like Elon Musk, guys like Joe Rogan, guys that everybody knows that are going to support the American agenda, that are going to support the Republican agenda. And why you guys are even sitting here, I don't know. Can you answer me why you're sitting here? Can we all figure this shit out? And it was
so great.
Just crickets. I was like, no fucking way, dude.
That's so good.
It was amazing. I have never seen a candidate clap back like that so hard.
That's so sick.
At the moderators, I
Yeah.
guess. And yeah, not the hosts, but the moderators really. So yeah.
That's
It is.
hilarious.
It's funny. They just kept asking over and over. They were like, can we keep the clapping to a minimum? Can we keep the clapping to a minimum? We need people to hear what everybody's saying. I was like, I can hear very well over the clapping. Thank you. And let them fucking clap. They're clapping because.
Doesn't it feel weird that we're trying to contain a presidential debate to a certain time block? Like something that is potentially very important to the betterment of the country.
Yeah.
We're just like, we have an hour-long time
I
block,
know,
everyone. We
I
need to
know.
keep the clapping to a medium.
I know. Yeah, we got to respect the time. We're on a very specific time frame. I'm like, we're talking about the future of our nation and the future of our children.
You have a minute and a half, please.
Yeah, get the fuck out of here with your time limits, man. I get it. You should have to have a. You
should be concise.
You should have to have a certain block of time that you're going to speak, but limiting the entire session, just let them stay. You know, fuck it, dude. Why don't you let them stay up there until the last man is fucking standing?
Right.
And we'll
see who's got the gumption.
We'll see who's got the fucking intestinal fortitude to actually, sit through
They're
that
all
thing.
sweating. They're all,
Yeah, like the longest presidential debate like ever in history. Put it in the Guinness Book of World
like
Records.
48 hours.
Yeah, dude. Let's see how long they can sustain without food. Let's see how much they really care by
Right.
never getting down from that fucking stage and just standing up there, drinking water and eating a sandwich that's brought up to them by one of their
You
constituents.
get a peanut butter and jelly every 7 hours.
I would love to see that shit, man.
That'd be so
Just
good.
These guys fucking having to fucking hold it out. Why are we putting Olympians up to the fucking test of who can run the fastest, stay out the longest, do the best thing for the longest period of time, when we're not putting the same test up to these guys that are up on stage? No, stay the fuck up there until you convince me why you're the best president. And
That's what I'm saying.
The
We
longest
need
person
boxing
up there,
matches.
yeah, and the guy that's still standing up there, not reading off of a script, but going off of what he truly believes inside. And when the delusion starts to kick in and the sleep deprivation starts to kick in,
And when they start saying the quiet part loudly.
yeah, exactly. Then we'll know who you really are.
Dude, it's
In
a
fact,
good idea.
And then at the very end of it, we're gonna get you drunk, or we're gonna have you
Drunken
smoke.
presidential debates,
Dude,
dude.
just have them get fucking shitty, or have them get high, right?
Just trip him out on mushrooms.
Yeah, just trip them out on mushrooms. Bring some truth serum into it, right?
Oh God, that'd be so good.
Oh, it'd be fucking amazing. Yeah.
Let's sponsor this, dude.
Yeah. let me take a piss real quick. All right.
Did you have so much fun, dude?
Yes. It was
a good time.
That was a good time. Yeah.
All right, perfect. On to the next.
And on to the next. Let's see what else the bowels of the internet have to offer.
From Tim Hogan, 745.
All right.
This was a comment on my video on how to stand good.
How to stand good.
How to stand good. To find your shooting stance, if you will.
Nice.
As a combat veteran, it's off to a good start.
Yep.
If you hit, mission accomplished. Murmur, stance, derp. Elimination of the threat is what matters. Mind you, that was in all caps. So how many bodies have you stacked in those they-them sandals, douche? Laughy crying face. 3 times. Do you work for Detroit Urban Survival Training? YouTube warrior.
Damn, man.
I can't believe I got called out like that.
Well,
Did you know I used to work for Dust?
Did you know, because since he's a combat veteran, that he automatically is correct? And that everything he says is doctrine?
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you... I would love to see that dude just in a scenario where, like, I drop you into one end of the forest and drop him into another end of the forest, you in your flip-flops, and see who actually fucking does a better job.
I don't know, but one of the last sounds he's going to hear is plop, 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 plop.
The thing that gets me, dude, is like these dudes, you know, if we're talking about what this guy's doing right now is he's essentially clowning you for trying to show other people how to train, how to defend themselves, right, and how to exercise their Second Amendment.
Correct.
So this dude is,
and how to do it with a modicum of body mechanics.
I'm gonna tell a little story right now about.
I like stories.
Yeah, it's a little story about. I don't know if anybody's watched Alone out there in the audience, but that show Alone it's on the History Channel. It's a really cool show. They drop these dudes in, right? They typically, it could be Vancouver. It's usually, you know, they've done it in South America. They've done it in places. They've done it in the Arctic. And what they'll do is they'll put them in like just before the weather gets completely unbearable, right? Just before all the food goes away and it becomes almost impossible to stay alive. And they drop you in with GoPros. So every person is genuinely alone. The only out they have is a satellite phone in which they could tap out. And they are only allowed a certain amount of tools to bring with them. Some people choose like the fishing gear. Some people choose, you know, and all it is like a hook and fishing line.
Right.
Some people choose, you know, the bow and arrow route because they want to hunt big game, whatever it is, right? Some people choose trapping. And some people have had some success on the show with trapping. But what's interesting about Alone is I've watched many people go on that show and tap out. And you'll see in the very beginning, they introduce themselves, they talk about their background. And on the first few episodes, or on the first few seasons rather, they had guys in the military naturally, right? And so these guys will get on, they puff up their chest and be like, well, I've been to Afghanistan and Iraq and I'm fucking, you know, Navy SEALs, fucking Special Forces, you know, go, whatever, right? And I'm not clowning on people that have joined the military. I'm not clowning on SEALs. What I'm saying is these dudes in particular on this show is like, yeah, if I could do it in the military, I could do it here.
Yeah.
Right? Nothing's harder than combat. Au contraire, because every single one of these motherfuckers were the first people to tap out. And I'm talking about before even the housewife that was on the show.
Before Janice, mother of 4.
Before Janice, mother of 4, who was just a survival enthusiast, right? Who lives out on the...
I like to go backpacking every weekend.
Yeah, who lives out on the land. No, these guys were like, oh, why? Because they don't give you MREs. You're not operating in a team element. You don't have the full support of the military behind you. So what we're doing here is saying like, hey, like, get really, really good by yourself out on the range, because if shit hits the fan and you don't have that squad size element, or you haven't planned with your people to link up at a rally point when things go bad, then you might just be by yourself.
Yeah, you might be alone. Most likely you'll probably be alone.
You might be alone. Yeah. So I just, you know, I take it with a fucking grain of salt when these dudes come out fucking swinging like that. You know it's going to be a shitty comment when they say, as a combat veteran. Right.
Or just, as a firearms instructor.
As a firearms instructor, it's always going to be a bad comment, right?
Yeah.
It's like, you know, get the fuck out of here with that, because I can tell you this, that with all the training that I received on my firearms in the military, I still came out of the military and then met you, and then we went out to the range and you outshot me. Why? Because you had more time behind the pistol. You had more time behind the rifle. In general, you trained probably more than I did actively shooting that thing, right? Now, you may not have trained in combat simulated environments. You may have not had any mil sim training and how to operate in squad elements and things like that. And that's maybe where this dude would be able to take you. Yeah. But, you know, you give him a full set of comms and you give this dude some nods and like all the gear and air support and and then gave you all the same stuff. Are you going to know how to call for air support? Are you going to know how to paint your targets? Are you going to know how to do all those things? Probably not. But That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about plopping you in and plopping this dude in and saying, hey, find each other, go. First person to die loses. You know what I mean?
Ready, set, go.
Ready, set, go. You know, just kind of like a little mini Hunger Games, you know, and I guarantee dudes like that, because the thing is like, unless this dude actively trains on a regular basis,
Right.
which I'm pretty sure he doesn't, because since he gave us his resume on that comment,
Right.
I think he would have put it in there. Like, right?
Yeah.
He would have been like,
I train all the time.
Yeah,
I'm a grandmaster in USPS IPPC.
yeah, PPC, USPCA.
IPPC or PPSA. I just like his elimination of the threat is what matters. It's
Yeah,
like,
that's what we were trying to do.
So Willie Pete is a whole lot different than a rifle dude.
Yeah. I know. Clowns. Clown shoes.
Those comments make me wonder, how does this guy actually stand while shooting? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that was actually
Like, is he
point of the
one of these guys, like,
probably. Yeah.
hella lean back, or one of the turtles that I made fun of?
Well, I can tell you one thing that they don't really, teach you a lot in the military, unless you go into more advanced training, and unless you're SOCOM. I can't speak for that. I wasn't special operations, but if you're in the regular Army or the regular, Marine Corps, like, stance is not like just a huge thing that they really drill down on.
Yeah.
There's 3 positions that you fire in. You fire in the standing, the kneeling, and the prone, right? Typically, those are you shoot behind cover and things of that nature. But what you're talking about is, a very drilled down, very specific technique that allows you to, get better at what you do. So
To maintain that base.
yeah.
All right, moving on.
Moving on.
From Bradley Homer, 3590.
Hello, Bradley.
Hello, Bradley. He says, storing empty mags in reality is for primarily military, because you won't be in a position to recover the mag, and getting a replacement isn't so simple. In the civilian world, drop that shit. You can get it later or buy a new one. This was in response to my tactical reload video.
Right.
Showing when and why you would do a tactical reload versus an emergency reload.
Right.
So for me, immediately, I think to myself, what are we training for? And this guy obviously doesn't know.
Well, he missed the entire point.
Right.
Right. Because the only time that you're going to execute a tactical reload is when you have time and you have cover.
Correct.
To be able to do so.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
So it negates the entire point of what he said.
Yes.
Because you would only do a tactical reload not when you are open and your life is in imminent danger and you're an imminent threat, but rather when you have time to, kind of get your bearings. And
no, dude, because it's primarily military.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So you're not allowed to do it. You're actually shouldn't even be teaching that.
I shouldn't even be talking about
You
it.
shouldn't even be talking about
It's
it.
primarily, it's for primarily military.
Interesting.
Yeah, it blows my mind that, and
What do you think we're doing here? If the Second Amendment is about protecting ourselves, enemies foreign and domestic, all the way up to the level of a organized military, protecting yourself all the way up to the level of an organized military, do you not think at that point you've been militarized?
right.
Right? Are you not at that point a militia?
I am the militia.
Even a militia of one,
Yeah.
right? But we're never a militia of one. You may be operating in that particular moment as a militia of one, but you're
There's always more.
there's millions of
There's
us.
millions.
So
Like 356, technically.
technically, they would not all identify as being part of the militia.
Listen, in my reality, I identify them as part of the militia. So if it's in my reality,
That's
no
right.
other reality matters.
There it is.
Right?
But yeah, so I totally understand why. I understand why this guy would. I genuinely do understand why this guy would say such a thing, right? And it goes into the lack of education on why we do what we do in the first place. And really, like, I think when you distill all of these down, they all just go into a lack of understanding of like why
it kind of seems like that,
why we
doesn't
do
it?
what we do.
It kind of seems like it comes down to that point of like, they straight up think the Second Amendment's for target shooting or like hunting.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely.
It's truly baffling. Here, I want I want to break the pace of these longer ones with a real quick one. Are you ready for it?
Yep.
This is from, let me find it here. Sorry, I got to scroll. I got quite a few in here.
Well, while you scroll, I'm going to talk about this interesting news case that I saw. It was a news broadcast that I saw not too long ago about this dude. You guys may have seen it. He protected his family against home invaders. He was trying to put his key inside of his lock.
Is this in LA?
Yes.
Dude, I'm so
Does that
fucking mad about this.
Tell me that doesn't fucking shred your Parmesan, dude.
My Parmesan is being shred.
Yeah, that is just...
Continue to explain for the people who might not know.
Yeah, if you don't know, this dude was just protecting his family. He went to put his key in his lock. Boom, intruders hopped over the gate, ran towards the door. The dude turned around.
Two armed intruders. He turned around, drew his firearm. Yeah.
Yep. Pulled the trigger.
I don't think he even hit him.
He subsequently, I don't think so either,
Yeah.
but he subsequently had his firearm privileges revoked.
Revoked.
Or suspended. I think it was suspended.
It was his CCW was suspended.
Yeah, his CCW was suspended. It's like, dude, you're going to take this away from a guy, the guy who needs it. This guy is now a target. He's been identified as a target from bad people, from potentially a gang, potentially people that could be coming back. I mean, he is clearly a target, and you took his rights away from him to defend himself.
This is further proof that the government hates you.
Dude, how much more proof do you need? Hey, I just got in a situation where I needed to defend myself because I've become a target. Okay, give me your guns. You are no longer allowed to do that thing.
Yeah.
That's
it. Sir, if you're listening.
My brain melted when I watched that. I was like, how is this allowed? How is this a fucking thing? I mean, only in the state of California.
The
and
officers.
Maybe New York.
Isn't it the, was it LA County Sheriff? It wasn't LA County Sheriff, was it?
Probably not. Most sheriff's departments are pretty fucking cool. I have no idea, but I didn't dig into who did it, but it would have been somebody in the DA's office. I would assume
whoever it was needs to be immediately stripped of all power and all rights that they have because they just broke their constitutional oath.
That you just broke. Yeah, that's the thing. The thing that we're not understanding is these people that are removing the rights from people that are attempting to defend themselves.
Their oath.
They're breaking their oath. They're breaking the law.
They're breaking the law.
Like you are breaking the law by not allowing this man his freedom to defend himself.
Right.
That is in itself a crime.
Yes.
Right? I wish that was like somewhere baked into our Constitution that if these rights are violated, it is mandatory life imprisonment. Right? And then you just see people going, okay, what does the Constitution say? We better abide the Constitution, because if we don't honor the Constitution, if we don't go by these general doctrines that are giving us life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, then we are breaking the law and we potentially have life imprisonment. Well, that's what it should fucking be.
I mean, the founding fathers, they had a pretty clear idea of what you should do when they wrote the words "shall not be infringed" if somebody tries to come and take your firearms away.
Dude, if we could resurrect anybody, if you could resurrect anybody, I would assume you would do the same thing. Most people would be like, yeah, I'd resurrect grandma or great grandma or, my brother that was killed in a car accident, or nope. I would not bring them back. I would because the most impactful thing to do would be to bring back every single one of those guys that wrote the Constitution and then march them into Congress and say, hey, rather the Supreme Court, and say, hey, if you had any questions about how the Constitution should be interpreted, why don't you ask these guys?
Except they would all be arrested as the Department of Homeland Security's domestic violent extremists. Yeah. I'll read that to you in a second.
Probably.
Here. No, they would. They absolutely would. I found a publication from the Department of Homeland Security from 2021. And going down here, a way to remember, I talked about it in a podcast a while ago. We got our Jimmy's in a ruffle about it. But this is an even more detailed one that I found about anti-government and anti-authority violent extremists. Militia violent extremists. DVEs, so domestic violent extremists, people the government labels as domestic violent extremists, who take overt steps to violently resist or facilitate the overthrow of the U.S. government in support of their belief that the U.S. government is purposely exceeding its constitutional authority and is trying to establish a totalitarian regime, oppose many federal and state laws and regulations, particularly those related to firearms ownership. So under their own description here,
Is this the FBI?
this is the Department of Homeland Security.
This is the DHS.
Yeah.
Okay.
So according to their own writings here, their own words, someone who might facilitate the overthrow of the U.S. government, someone who might push for the government having less control, and believes that the government's stepping outside of their constitutional authority here.
Wow. So they're now putting it in the scope of their employment to take people down for essentially doing exactly what we are supposed to be doing, which is keep our government in check.
Yeah. You don't like gun laws?
Dude, if you guys...
You're a violent extremist.
Yeah. And the fact that it says specifically with the ownership of firearms.
Yeah.
So you're saying that I'm a violent extremist if I want to protect our Second Amendment rights. Dude.
For the Fed watching. Stack up.
Yeah, there's way more than Nolan and I on this podcast that are perpetuating the I'm just reading your comment there. It says,
no, don't say it. That's the one we're going to break into in a second.
Okay. No. So that's genuinely terrifying.
Yeah.
That they would put that into their new scope of employment, is to identify.
Well, that
those
was back in 2021, dude.
Wow.
I can only imagine how worse it's gotten.
Yeah.
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 So
it is the sole purpose. Like I said before, just take a trip down history lane and get into the National Archives Museum and just see those documents that were written when our country was founded, and all of those documents and all of the related scripture, if you will, that was written by our founding fathers to supplement those documents. They all say it is the duty of the citizen to keep their government in check, in so many words.
When you read the Constitution, it says, and I am paraphrasing, the right of the people, and I'm not talking about the Second Amendment. They're saying the right of the people to overthrow their government and reinstate a new one. It is their right and it is their duty.
Yeah. And that doesn't mean we go in there, and it doesn't mean you have to do it with guns.
No, it doesn't mean it has to be violent.
It doesn't mean it has to be violent. It means that through processes of voting and using our First Amendment rights,
or guillotine,
but through peaceful means, we rise up as a population, as a revolution, if the time presents itself, and say, look, you are no longer suited to run shit around here.
Right.
And we need to figure out who is. Right?
100%.
It is 100% in our right and our purview to be able to do that. So these dudes have lost their fucking mind if they think that they're going to prevent that at any given time. But if we don't act quick with informing this next generation that's getting real fucking cozy with their creature comforts.
Oh, yeah.
About the importance of this message will be lost in a generation or two.
It'll be lost forever.
And it'll be lost forever.
Yeah.
They're just going to let them do whatever the fuck they want to do.
Yeah.
It cannot be that way. We have to be able to take the next generation through the process of thought that we're going through right now. It is so fucking important.
100%. 100%. And I want to jump back just a little bit to the guy who got his CCW taken away.
Yeah.
If you're listening, which I highly doubt, but if you know that guy, or you know a guy who might know that guy, just remember when Roe v. Wade was overturned and everybody said they were still going to get their abortions. I'll end it at that. So to break into a little bit of a lighter, we're going to go through a couple just fun ones here.
Yeah. Probably some, I would assume that the next ones you're going to read are probably really profound.
Super.
Okay.
Super profound and very
thought-provoking.
Thought-provoking, deep, intellectual, well-worded, stoic, just
intellectual.
Yes, intellectual.
Okay, let me hear the first
This
one.
is from Daniel Dotter, 6077. So Dotter, not like how you would spell like a daughter.
Okay,
right?
got it.
But like daughter, like you're dotting on the line.
Okay.
Gay.
That was the comment.
That's the comment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you for your
welcome.
Your insightful opinion
Words.
there. Yeah, that's incredible.
And then this is from Eating My Sandwich.
Clever.
Impressive kick, faggot.
Ooh, nice. Drop the F word.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
These guys just like wake up and have a bad fucking day. They're like, this guy can do a thing I can't do. Go kick faggot.
Yeah.
All right.
Are you ready for this one? I got to swipe back just a little bit here. From Family Engineering, 5591. This lady is too intense for me.
Okay. This is a long one or a short one?
No, that's it.
This lady is
This lady is too intense for me.
That was the comment?
That was the comment.
I thought that was you.
No.
This lady is too intense.
From FNHFAL. Trans?
Question mark?
Question mark.
Okay.
Yeah. I love the internet sometimes.
I know. Yeah, it's great.
When you can take an objective stance and like just kind of step back and laugh at it.
Yeah.
It's a good time.
Yeah. This is it's good that everybody has a voice, you know?
It is.
Yeah.
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 It is.
Yeah,
I'm happy for it,
platform to stand on.
Really know which ones have an inner monologue.
Sure.
Yeah. From JP4 Miles. You'll like this comment. Stop it with a thigh holster like you're in Iraq. Look like a clown. And then it continues on.
Do you have to have a thigh holster to be in Iraq? Is that a
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was actually talking to Sean just the other day, which is pretty humorous about this comment, is he was saying when he was serving, the Marines, they didn't really focus on their handgun very much, and they would not carry a handgun in a lot of situations, and they would just carry more mags for their rifle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty typical.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only reason I had a sidearm was because I was in the gun of a Humvee and it was easier to get out.
Right.
Because
you didn't have a Mark 18 at the time.
Yeah, it was Well, I mean, we had M4s, but getting even the M4 out is a little unwieldy when you have somebody come up right next to your gun truck.
Right.
Right. So if you got somebody right next to your gun truck, it's a lot easier. Just pull the pistol out and say, "Hey, get the fuck away."
Right.
Right.
Then try and bring up an M4.
Right.
Absolutely. Which is funny that these comments are like back to back. This is from Poultry Guy 12 Able. I like how all these tactical guys only practice with military leg holsters and gloves on, making them completely useless in an actual fight where none of that stuff will be used.
Okay. I wore gloves every time I was up in the gun of a Humvee. So
no one else can wear
effective.
guns.
No one. Oh, no.
No, yeah. Yeah,
Oh,
I'm not in Iraq, dude.
But you're not allowed to?
Yeah,
Is that what he meant by that? Is that you're not allowed to wear the gloves?
Correct.
Oh.
He's like,
I thought he was saying like you can't wear gloves because they'll be ineffective. That's the way I took that.
No. He's saying that all us tactical guys.
Yeah. Right. In giant quotations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wear military thigh holsters and gloves, and that they won't actually be there in a situation.
Okay. Yeah, well, they would be there in a situation if you carried them with you. So
Yeah.
that answers your question.
Also, do you forget what the purpose of the Second Amendment is for?
Again, it all gets distilled down to that same thing. It all precipitates down to that same kind of coffin of ideas.
Yes.
So,
dude, so many people commented on my little gun flippy video.
Yeah.
And I had to weed through it. It was I could probably pop up like an entire, probably like 10 pages of just people saying, you broke gun rules.
Oh, yeah.
Like that was dangerous. That was completely unsafe.
Spinning an unloaded firearm
Yes.
with...
You flagged yourself.
With slide lock.
Yes. Yeah. Broke at least 2 gun rules of safety. Dangerous and pointless. Dork. I like this one. This is you flagged yourself. That's why we don't spin guns. Waste of effort trying to look cool.
This is the internet. That's all we're trying to do is look cool.
God.
We're trying to look cool.
That's literally all you do on the internet is try and look cool.
Come on, man.
So here's one that I responded to, but there's another one very similar to it.
Yeah.
But I wanted to bring it up for you guys because I think it's an important message to share.
Yeah.
This is from Christopher Mitchell, 7925. He said, so how do we all get ammo and land sponsors so we can practice all this stuff? Money doesn't grow on trees, and unfortunately, neither does ammo. Be realistic, bro. You're showing off. To which I responded, This is BLM land. I've been working on 1,000 rounds of ammo for the past 4 months of filming. Stop making excuses. It doesn't help you get better.
Nope.
No, it doesn't. You know,
But that's also like why we try to do what we do, which is like, if we can get you the gear that is going to be inexpensive, it's going to allow you to purchase the expensive ammo and train more, right? And there is land near most people that you can get out to that's not a formal range that you can train on, right? So now we're not talking inner city most people, but most people that don't live in a inner congested city are able to get out to some sort of land. Even Sacramento, where we're near, right? Sacramento is a city. It is a fairly decent sized city. And if you lived in Midtown, you're no more than 45 minutes away, probably 30 minutes away from your closest BLM land where you can go out and train.
Right.
So
go make a day of it.
Yeah.
Go make a day of it. And if you can't make a day of it, I got another comment a little bit back that people were like, the average man doesn't have time to train. Yes, you do. Take 10 minutes and fucking dry fire.
Yeah.
Don't be a loser. And I'm not calling you a loser. What I'm saying is losers make excuses.
Yeah. Yeah,
Plain
if you
and
really
simple.
wanted to, you're going to figure it out.
Yeah.
If it was important enough to you, you'd carve out the time to do it.
Right. And if it's not important to you, that's fine.
Yeah. You don't have to fucking do it.
You don't have to fucking do it.
Yeah.
But don't feel bad and make excuses about not being able to do it.
Anybody has time to do anything.
Correct.
It is the decisions that you make in your life to put roadblocks in your own way.
Right.
Now, those roadblocks, if you see them as roadblocks, I'm just calling them roadblocks. Maybe you chose to get married. You chose to have children. You chose to have a job that demands 60, 70 hours a week.
Right.
Right. If those things are more important to you than training, then so be it. That's your prerogative.
That's fine.
That's fine.
Yeah.
But don't get mad at you, Nolan, who's chosen to A, work for a firearm related company, B, not have kids yet, C, not be married, D, put yourself right next to BLM land where you can just pop across the street and go train.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like that you can't get mad at the guy that has set his life up to do those things.
Right.
It is, people think that you are lucky. And I believe it was Warren Buffett that said this, and it's a killer quote. It is, let me gather my bearings real quick. Let me gather my thoughts so I don't fuck it up. If you are born poor, it is not your fault. If you die poor, it is your fault. Right?
Yeah.
And you've made choices in your life to not get to a certain position. Now you can call it, it's circumstance and it's luck. And yeah, absolutely. We don't start off with the same fucking baseline. People are given more opportunity to do the things that they want to do initially. But if we're talking about having a mindset, which is, if you can't talk to anybody that is successful and have them not talk about mindset, that's all you're going to hear. All you're going to hear is mindset. I'm a product of the closest 5 people I surround myself with. I'm a product of the decisions that I made in my life and the mindset that I have about the things that I want to do. And if it is your mindset that you are going to make money and you are going to not be poor anymore, by God, you will find a way to do it. And you know how I know that you can do it? Is because people come here into this great country that we have with absolutely nothing, not even speaking the language, and fucking own motherfuckers. They own motherfuckers.
They literally own
that
people.
were born into this country.
Yeah.
That had every opportunity and born into a middle-class family and were educated by our school systems, were educated by our college systems. Not that it's great, but that opportunity that these guys had. Now, not only are you are you an immigrant coming into this country who doesn't speak English, and you are dominating these Americans that have way more opportunity than you, right? But they're fairly quiet about it.
Right.
They just fucking do it.
Yeah.
They put their head down. They get to work. They don't look at what I don't have and why shit's not equal and why it's not fair and why it.
Do you want to know why?
My answer to that, what I think is why, it's their mindset. Their mindset is, I came here to do a thing and no one's going to get in my fucking way.
It's because they're hungry for it. They're not loud about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, like just the other day.
You got to want it. I mean, the desire has to fuel that.
Yeah.
And your mindset has to be proper. You know, I got, like, for me, for owning a business, my mindset was, I am so tired of having my creativity stifled and my potential stifled by my employer, dude, if I was given an employer before I knew better, before I became an entrepreneur, if I knew better, right, then I never would have worked for somebody, but I didn't. So I went and worked for an employer who that's all he fucking did was, you can't do that. And we're not doing this and I won't do that. And I'm like, but I can make you so much money. We could, if I did this thing, we could, like, everybody's lives would be better in the company and we could all make more money and you'd make more money. And it's like, nope, this is my company. This is the way I want to do it. And you're not going to, and it's every right for him to do that. But it's also my right to say, I'm in enough pain by wanting to do the things that I want to do and feel like I need to do. And that guy gave me the biggest gift that I have probably ever been given, was he didn't give me the opportunity to make him more money. You know, he completely shit on everything that I brought to his desk. And I was like, enough of that, right? I had to be hungry, just like you said.
Right.
I got hungry enough to say, I'm going to fucking do this thing. So, I mean, for me, a mindset is it's the foundation for which everything else is built upon. Right. You know?
Yeah. No, it's absolutely right. It's, if your mind is right, everything else will kind of follow through.
Yeah.
Right. The other day, I got home. I was super exhausted. Carly was at work. I went, did my normal chores at the house, you know, just cleaned up, fed the dogs, took them out, played with them a little bit, sat down on the couch, scrolled for a minute, passed out. I took like a 2.5 hour nap. Nice. It was great. It was a great nap.
Yeah.
But Carly gets home and she goes, hey, how was your day? Did you work out? Did you work out today? And I said, no, I didn't have time. And then I just stopped.
Yeah.
And I was like, so mad at myself
right.
for saying that.
Yeah.
And I was like, I regret saying those words.
That's holding.
And then I got up and then I did a workout.
The beautiful thing is that's holding yourself accountable, right? And if we hold ourselves accountable, then what I heard in that comment right there was, I'm making bitch ass excuses because I'm a baby back bitch.
Right.
Right.
I'm a baby back bitch.
That's all I hear. When people are saying, oh, but I can't, but I did.
You can't do it.
Yeah, but I can't do it. Not all of us can do that. But all of you can. All of you have the same opportunity that the next guy has. We're just not started. We all don't start on the same baseline.
Right.
And we've all made decisions in our life that don't allow us to execute on things right now.
As far as I'm concerned, if you're born in America and you have 5 fingers and 5 toes on each hand and each foot, and your brain works somewhat okay.
Yeah.
You're on the same baseline.
Absolutely, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You watch these top sales guys, like, you know, I follow some of them, these sales gurus in the industry, and I just very intriguing to watch where they came from. And they often talk about like how they would just seize up in a social situation, how they had a speech impediment, how they would, you know, not be able to think fast and quick on their feet because they've had learning disabilities and they weren't able to learn the products quickly. But their drive was so fierce that they overcame all of that and became some of the best sales guys in the world. Right. Right. And it was their ability to recognize their deficiencies and then move forward with overcoming them. And if we think this shit's going to fall in your lap, if you think talent's going to fall in your lap, it's not, dude. You have to execute. You have to execute. So that's all I'm going to say about that.
Yeah. I'm going to add to that because, you know, some of my friends have that mentality, that mindset of, I don't like to do stuff that I'm not good at. And I'm like, well, guess what, Buttercup?
Yeah, that's the shit.
You're never good. You're never good when you start something.
No.
And if you are, and that's all that you do, you suck.
Yeah. And I hate to get into this whole like manifestation thing, but as long as you tell yourself that you're not a thing, then
you're not going to be
you're not going to be the fucking thing, dude. That's it. If you say I'm fucking bad at math, you're going to be fucking bad at math. I went into trigonometry. Look, when I got out of the military and I had to go back into school, and they put me in this fucking. They wanted to put me in. I took the, you know, the what are those things called? The not the entrance exams. The what is the fucking word?
I don't know. I wasn't in the military.
No. Oh. I'm talking about when I got out. When I first applied. Gotcha. When I applied to college.
Oh, like the like where you place essentially?
Yes. It's like their placement exams.
Yeah, their placement test.
So I took a placement test for where I need to be in math. I ended up in like fucking arithmetic. Okay, it was just something very, very basic.
Yeah.
Like second grade math. Now,
Nothing wrong with that.
I'd been exposed to algebra and these things in my past and in high school, didn't really pay attention. I got into this class. I didn't get into it. I was like, fuck this. If I take this base level class, I'm going to be in college for the next 6 years, just getting the math done for the degree that I want, which was statistical regression analysis. At that point in time, believe it or not, I wanted to be a fucking dentist. Yeah, I said it.
Sweet.
So I had to go take all the maths and
So
all
a
the
doctor
sciences.
who failed med school.
A doctor who failed med school.
I'm just kidding, dentists.
That's exactly where I wanted to
I
be.
appreciate you
So to do that, I needed a lot of math and a lot of science.
and
So
all your hot nurses.
I get into this placement of you're going to be in like college for the next 10 years, learning all the basic math to get into the math that you need to be in to actually graduate, right?
Right.
So that aside, I was like, fuck that. And so I signed up for trigonometry with advanced college algebra. That was the class. And I got in that and I told myself, I'm going to fucking do this. I'm good at math. Anybody can learn anything.
Right.
And I sat down in that class and he did his own assessment test. And that was the word I was looking for a minute ago. Did his own assessment test on the students that were currently in the class. I placed last. I completely failed at like a 36% or some shit, his assessment test. To which point Mr. Curran came to me after the class and he said, listen, man, you are the lowest ranked in the class. I grade on a curve. It's not looking good for you. Do you think you want to get into some more remedial math before you continue on in this journey? And I said, listen, man, I've been in the military for 4 years. I even joined kind of a year or two after my counterparts. I'm old. I need to get this done so I can get on with my life. Can I show up to your office hours when I need to? How often do you hold them? What things do I need to learn to catch myself back up to speed? He gave me everything I needed to know before I really kicked off in the class. Dude, every week, that guy had office hours twice a week. His office hours were at a satellite campus that was like fucking 45, 50 minutes away. I drove to them. I sat in his office. I did my homework and I studied. And when I had a question, I would reach over. I'd reach over. I'd give him a hand job, and he would
And he would give me an A.
He would give me an A. No, I'd lean over and I'd be like, "Hey, Mr. Curran, what's this thing? Boom. Here's how you do it. Thank you. Boom." Right. And so I dedicated the time, but more importantly, I dedicated my mentality to stop telling myself you're bad at math, because the reality is I didn't have the experience to be in the class that I was in, but it didn't mean I was fucking bad at it.
Right.
Right. I just had to figure it out, and anything can be learned. And so I did. And I fucking drilled down into every day. And when I graduated that class, when I left that class, I am not fucking lying to you guys, I had the highest grade in the class. I scored lowest on the assessment test, had the highest grade in the class. And the reason why, you probably heard me tell the story before, and why I love to tell the story is because that whole game is fucking mindset.
Right.
If you want to do it, you can get it fucking done. There are no excuses. I don't know where else I was going with that.
No, that's exactly where you were going with that.
Other than just exactly that.
There are no excuses.
There are no excuses.
It depends on how bad you want it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How bad do you fucking want it, and how much work are you willing to put in to get it?
That story and how you kind of wrapped that up, not to pull away from this at all, because that is a fantastic story, mind you, but it really reminds me of that time Joe Biden got called out for lying about where he placed in college. Have you seen that?
No.
It's like back in the 90s. It's a news report, and what I'm gonna do is I will put it at the very end of this podcast. If you want to listen to it, I will put it at the very end of this podcast so it doesn't interrupt the rest of this.
Yeah.
But it's Joe Biden talking to some reporter or something, and he's like, I graduated the top of my class with honors out of this many students and blah, 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 blah. And then it's a news reporter after that, and he's like, so that turned out to be false. Joe Biden actually graduated like 16th in his class, at the bottom of his class, without honors. And
Jesus.
And it was just like everything he said, and then it was false. And it was like Joe Biden then recanted his statement, saying he must have forgotten. Something like that. But it was, it's hilarious. And it's almost like politicians just lie.
Yeah. My favorite thing that I just recently saw was the second go round with the bridge building. Have you seen this?
Where you can build 1,000 bridges.
But
you suck one dick.
No. He went. Joe Biden went to a place. I fucking think it was Minnesota or some shit, and he was he was spearheading this. We're building bridges all across America campaign, right? And so he's standing to the side of this gentleman, and this gentleman is standing at the podium, and this guy is one of the, he's one of the steel workers or somebody that's on some sort of commission for the bridge building that's speaking on behalf of Biden, that's saying, what he's trying to say is Biden's doing great things for the bridge building community. We're going to build a ton of bridges, and thank you for everything that you're doing. And that's really all the guy had to say.
Oh, no.
But instead, this guy said, and we're going to let you just see it here, and I will interrupt the podcast.
We'll interrupt the podcast and go.
And now I'm standing next to the president again, next to a collapsed bridge here. And he is here to commit to work with the governor and the delegation to make sure that we get this fixed quick, fast as well, too. This is a president that is committed to infrastructure. Yeah, and then on top of that, the dual kind of law of the inflation bill that is going to make sure that there's going to be bridges all across America getting rebuilt. And now I'm standing.
Holy shit! Oh my God! So that guy that guy's Fetterman, and I think he's running for Senate.
Oh, that's right.
I understand why you thought he was a steel worker, because he looks like some schlub off the street.
Oh, you're right.
Not to hate on you steel workers, because you probably look better than that guy.
No, you're right. I remember seeing I was like, why does that guy look really familiar? It's because he was being pulled around by the liberal media saying, look, we got a regular guy too. Like, yeah, you guys got all these dudes like Trump and, Ramaswamy that are like, yeah, just here for the citizen. I'll say what I want. But we've got a guy too. This guy has the same vocabulary, if not worse, than Biden does. What I just watched with you,
dude,
was how this is the future of our country right here. These are the guys that are leading their constituents, that are they're blazing the path towards a better life for Americans.
Listen,
and they can't even pronounce infrastructure.
They can't even fucking speak, dude.
Delegation.
Infrastructure. Now,
this collapsed bridge next to me. This collapsed bridge next to me. Is he referring to Biden? Like, he literally he points to Biden's like, this collapsed bridge next to me.
So listen, I'm an idiot, right? I'm an idiot, and I'm not necessarily one to call someone else an idiot, but I'm also not running for Senate. So here's the deal. If you can't pronounce your words, go home.
And try again.
Until
you can.
And when you pronounce your words correctly, then come back. I'm not saying you can't do it.
That whole conversation we just had about, look, some of the best sales guys in the world have like speech impediments, and they had these things and these social anxieties that they had to overcome. And then they did it, and they became this thing. Look, like, you just don't get to wake up and go run for fucking Senate.
You don't wake up and become Zig Ziglar.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
You got to make some sales first.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, with that said, I can only imagine that Obama. I can only imagine that Biden was the only person, first of all, that actually understood any of that, because he speaks the same language.
He speaks Bidenese.
He speaks Bidenese. Apparently, this dude has been having too many fucking conversations with Biden. And
chocolate chip.
That being said, like, we are a product of the closest 5 people that we surround ourselves with. And if this guy has been surrounding himself with Biden, which he's very close to him in this video.
Or is it Biden surrounding himself with that guy?
I don't know. Yeah, which came first, the chicken or the egg? But you get enough of these guys around each other, and they are going to start acting. You know what, another interesting fact that I read, not to go to segue down a crazy rabbit hole, but when we talk about the people that we surround ourselves with and we connect with, they did an exhaustive study, they being scientists and doctors.
Trust the science.
Trust the science. There was an exhaustive study done on obesity, and the layers and levels of and degrees of separation of those people that you had in your inner circle and people that they knew in their inner circle, and it even went down to another layer of like that tertiary, that third layer of people who if they were obese, then you had like a 75% or 85% more likelihood of being obese. And then if the people that you hung out with people who were obese.
This is like obese limbo.
Well, it's like obese inception.
Yeah.
Inception.
That's
right?
what I'm
Where
saying. They go down to limbo,
they go,
the dream
yeah.
within the dream.
Yeah, the dream within the dream,
yeah.
right. Yeah. So the more obese people that you associate yourself with, you have a higher propensity to become obese. And I think the psychology behind it is, well, A, you're going out to eat with them. You're eating the same food as them. Like, no one's going to order some big sloppy burger and you're going to get a salad. It's uncommon to do that. Not that it doesn't happen.
They're affirming body positivity.
That's exactly what's happening.
Never
right?
love your body.
Right.
Please.
So look, if you've got somebody who is unhealthy, like, look, if I just gained a shit ton of weight all of a sudden and I walked in, I would expect you as my friend to say, hey, listen, man, I care about you and I'm not trying to fucking hurt your feelings. But you got to do something about this. You're incredibly fucking unhealthy.
Yeah.
You should probably stop that thing that you're doing.
Yeah.
So if I came into work drunk every day,
Right.
you'd probably be like, Jake, dude,
Listen,
you need to get sober.
this
I
ain't
don't like
good.
seeing you like this,
Yeah.
right? And I'm not going to be here for you if you continue down this path. I don't want to associate myself with somebody like that. If you truly care about somebody, you're going to not accept them for who the fuck they are.
No.
No,
You never do.
You're going to say, hey, you can do better. I think that's so important to have when we have friendships is to be able to say, look, dude, you're capable of so much more and you're not doing these things. Why don't I help you? Let me know if you need anything.
Right.
But you need to start doing what I see that you're capable of. Because if you don't, I'm going to go find the people that are going to drive hard enough to be right next to so that I can get what I need out of my life to succeed as well.
Right.
Right. So that's the psychology behind the obesity thing.
Mm-hmm.
And you can really segue that into any other thing that you're doing, right? If you look around you and say, you know, I'm living in poverty, but it's okay because
Everyone's living in poverty.
All of my friends around me are living in poverty as well. Then okay, you know, it becomes, you normalize it. You set this like this benchmark, this baseline of like, hey, this is acceptable. This is okay, right? Everybody else is doing exactly like I'm doing. Nobody's pushing me. I don't feel inferior or, you know, superior to anybody. So I'm just going to sit right here and do what I'm doing because that's what everybody else is doing and it's status quo. And
This is how furries are made.
Yeah, it stifles growth. Yeah. You don't just get somebody that wakes up and say, I want to be a furry. It's usually a fucking dude that's like, hey, dude, I'm doing this thing. It's like a furry thing. And somebody is just, I don't know, for lack of a better word, bored. Don't have the right friends. And they're like, yeah, I'm going to go do furry stuff too.
Yeah, I might as well do some furry stuff.
And if you don't know what that is, Google it.
Have fun.
Anyway, where were we?
I think we were feeding the trolls.
Yeah.
But then we kind of got lost on some good tangents. I'm happy we went down those tangents. I hope you guys are happy we went down on those tangents. And I want to say one more thing on that because I looked at the camera and I said, don't ever love your body. That's not true. You can love your body, but never be satisfied.
Oh, I thought you said don't ever love your buddy.
No.
Oh, yeah. You
Him
can,
either. Fuck that guy.
Yeah, you can love your buddy.
Yeah,
I mean, there's nothing wrong with
Yeah,
loving
there's
your buddy.
nothing wrong with loving your body.
But
I want to expound.
don't love your buddy.
Yeah.
Keep them accountable for not being the type of human that they
That
need to be.
is loving your buddy.
Well, yeah.
That's loving.
Don't love them for who they are. Love
Right.
them for who they can become.
Right. Yeah. And true friends are going to hold you accountable. True friends are going to speak up. When people say the real ones, right?
Yeah.
What that actually means is someone who's willing to get in your grill about stuff that makes you feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, dude. People that love you are going to hurt your fucking feelings.
And then when you look at yourself in the mirror and let's say you're overweight, and I'm not trying to point fingers and I'm not trying to shame anyone. I want to encourage you guys. Let's say you're overweight. Telling yourself that you're healthy and you're happy, maybe that might be good for you. But telling yourself you're healthy is a lie. Like, look at yourself and say, I understand that I'm unhealthy and I'm going to get healthy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
you can't, if you can't hit a target you're not aiming at.
Right.
Right. It's pretty common knowledge. So
Right.
you've got to have the
You
goal
gotta have the
set.
target.
Got to have the goal set. You got to have the target set.
And then follow the page, Patrick Bateman, Daily Motivation.
Patrick Bateman, Daily Motivation. Have you seen dude, there's a real Patrick Bateman out there.
Is
Yeah.
it the guy that like pulls
Yes.
his sheets
Yes.
and then like irons it?
Yes.
That guy's fucking
Have
like,
you seen this dude?
To each their own, but like straight
My
up.
wife calls him her future husband. She loves that guy, dude. Because she's very much Yeah, just OCD clean. You know, people call themselves OCD.
She would hate.
What?
She would hate it
Where?
if she was with that guy.
I don't know.
Dude, no,
I don't
I'm
know.
telling
Two
you.
of them doing the
Dude,
same thing.
I'm
She's
telling you.
waking up in a crisp bed every morning, having him ironing the sheets while she's in them.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I'm telling you, dude.
I'm just saying.
It would be bad.
Yeah. So where was I going with this? Yeah,
This actual Patrick Bateman.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
He's a fucking. It's crazy. If you have the opportunity to, just Google this fucking guy. Just
Do you know his name?
No, but you can. I'm sure you can.
I think
search like Patrick Bateman guy who like irons his sheets, and you'll find him on
he had
social
a post
media.
and it was like his daily routine or something. Like, but I know what you're talking about. And to each their own. If that's the shit that gets you off in the morning, okay.
Yeah.
But the fact that he like records it,
Yeah.
that's what weirds me out.
Yeah.
I'm like,
and I think people.
I'm like, you're setting up camera angles, you're checking it, you're probably doing it more than once.
Yeah. I think people throw around the term OCD very loosely.
Very loosely.
And I hear it all the time in job interviews.
It's a spectrum, bro.
Yeah. You hear it in job interviews. They're like, "Oh, I'm OCD," right? I'm like, "What?"
So how many times do you have to close the door before you're satisfied with
you
it?
don't know what fucking OCD actually is. You're not OCD. And then they get here and they get to work and you're like, "Dude, you've got a 3-week-old hamburger on your fucking desk. You're not OCD."
Oh, I forgot it was there.
Like, get the fuck out of here with your OCD. And people are like, I'm so super focused and so super organized that I'm almost too organized, and that's my defect. That's my default. I'm like, and then they start working here, and I'm like, you're not. You have no idea what OCD really is. I live in OCD.
Yeah.
Now I'm not
Right.
OCD per se, right? But my wife, who's the yin to my yang, most definitely is, and to the point where like I set down a glass on the fucking counter, dude,
And it's gone.
dude, and I'm like, can you just leave? It was full.
Carly does that shit
I
to me.
just fucking had it there.
Right.
I was drinking it.
Like,
I turned
I'm
around.
coming back for it.
Yeah, I turned around to listen to a sound from the other room, and by the time I turned back around, this fucking thing was gone. That's OCD.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It is. It is. My resume just said I could do a backflip.
That's true.
Did I ever tell you that when I was going for a job at the bar? No. I put on there I can do a backflip.
Yeah, that's great. It's a great thing to put on your resume.
It is, isn't
It's
it?
unique and it's it's out of the norm.
Right. I think we'll end on this one because
Okay.
you know what? They were all a little similar with a little bit of a change, but this one really again distills down into that same thing. But since we're on the topic, we might as well just keep going with it.
Absolutely.
This is from YouTube Name 7.
Okay, YouTube Name 7.
YouTube Name 7. Now, to preface with this, you need to understand he's typing sarcastically.
Okay.
Yeah, to start. He said, "These drills are important. As a civilian, it is very likely that you will be in public, plain clothes with your rifle, and end up shooting 2 unarmed stationary men who aren't using cover. So relatable to real life. It's even more important to military. Remember how often in Afghanistan we had combatants standing in front of us 10 meters away and not returning fire?" I added returning. It said not return fire. I corrected his grammar.
All right. So, well, we're not in Afghanistan.
Oh.
First of all. So, I like how people just kind of they slide that in there.
Yeah.
We're not in Afghanistan. So I'm assuming is he a combat vet, or do you think he would have said so?
I'm assuming he
I'm
is.
assuming he is.
He
right?
said,
So
"Remember
we're-
when we were in Afghanistan."
Remember when we were in Afghanistan, right?
So he's
it's just
either
a
an
subtle-
Afghani.
Yeah, subtle nod too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's one thing that I wanted to bring up too is like, look, dude, if you're gonna one of my favorite things that people say is because we were talking about OCD a minute ago, when they talk about and I know this kind of has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but it kind of does in the sense that like he's just kind of low key trying to slide in his credentials.
He's
in
like,
there.
oh, by the way, I'm a vet.
By the way, I'm a vet. By the way,
vet.
we're not in Afghanistan anymore. Okay, that's cool, man. But I get the same type of reaction. I feel my own personal reaction when people talk about how humble they are. Right?
I'm so humble.
Yeah, I'm like, dude. By definition of the fucking term, you're not humble.
You're not.
Yeah, you have no idea what it means, and that's it just kind of bleeds into the OCD thing. It bleeds into this thing where it's like, look, man, like you should know better than anybody. If you indeed were in Afghanistan. The importance of being able to defend yourself against enemies, foreign and domestic, not because of the stance that we took as the American military in Afghanistan, but because of the stance that they took with AK-47s against a full Air Force and, Special Operations Command and everybody that was there, artillery, ready to fuck your shit up, and you're running around still not losing the war technically with AK-47s
Right.
and sandals. I mean, you are in a very similar garb to the Taliban.
I want to bring.
if we're just being real here,
I want to bring this up.
that's what you're training in. You're training in something that like you probably wouldn't have if the bad things happen.
I'm training like the tallies, bro.
Train like the tallies. My friend who just commented this post, who just commented on this post, you literally by the virtue of your comment are proving yourself incorrect, because what you are doing in that training and saying, and by him saying what you are doing, you are wearing, and what you are executing in that training, and by him saying, hey, you're not in Afghanistan, that is exactly how in their mentality, in their mind with what they're doing. I'm not supporting the Taliban here, but that's how they were defending their ideals, their belief system, and their country, I say in quotes.
Right.
Right.
I've got a question for you on that. How much more terrifying, or how happy are you that the Taliban weren't training like I'm training?
No, I mean, dude, the thing that I like to tell people when, first of all, the guys that had it hard, and I think any combat veteran out there that's been overseas, that's been to the sandbox in any capacity will be able to attest to this, with the exception of, a few of the DevGru guys and some of the guys that did some high-speed shit that saw contact every day.
Yeah.
The guys that had it tough, and I even think those guys would take their hats off to the guys that had it tough were the guys that got sent to Vietnam, the guys that went to World War II.
Right.
These are the dudes.
Like the Larry Vickers guys.
Yeah. These are the guys that are absolute savages. In fact, I would venture to say that it's completely different because many of those men did not volunteer to do it. Many of those men were pulled out of their comfortable lives and said, hey, you're going to go do this thing. And one thing that I noticed talking to vets, like especially when I go to the VA, there's constantly Vietnam vets there. We get into conversations. Some of them, Air Force guys, as soon as they hear Air Force, I was in the Air Force when I was in Vietnam. My mind just intrinsically like goes to, oh, so you didn't do anything in Vietnam. Right. But then you hear these stories and you're like, it didn't matter what you were or what you did or what capacity you operated in an environment like World War II or Vietnam. You were in the shit.
Yeah.
Right? You might have been in the shit on a ship. You might have been doing shit in a plane, but you were in the shit.
Right.
There was never the, I was a finance guy in Vietnam. Well, I haven't met one. I'm sure there were, but you know what I mean? I've yet to.
They're not at the VA.
They're not at the VA. They're not at the VA. Yeah. I've yet to meet a combat veteran that was Vietnam and prior to that has that I've ever spoken to or heard a story about that did not have just some level of actual contact with the enemy or in some capacity was doing heavier shit than we ever did while we were over there. So hats off to those guys. And I don't know why I went down that road, but
it was because you were talking about veterans from Vietnam and how much gnarlier it was for them rather than Afghanistan.
Oh, right.
Off of the comment of, aren't you so glad that they weren't training like I am training?
Right. So I am glad because, these dudes did not have the tactics. They did not have night vision. So when we operated at night, we would, obviously own the night.
Yeah.
I mean, there was so much more of an advantage that we had in the American military, where they were pretty even keel going into most of the other wars. Right. So get away from this whole, and I ask you, I don't tell you, but I'm asking the veterans out there to get away from this fucking mentality that we were over there doing, something that was just out of this fucking world difficult.
So intense, yeah.
That's so intense when we had every force multiplier that could possibly be given to a soldier, most of us did. Right? There are
exceptions.
There are absolute exceptions. There were even guys in my unit that were on outposts that were completely fucking outnumbered, that posts got overran by fucking, 300 insurgents. And, there are exceptions, but the majority of the military had resources and air support and artillery at their disposal and night vision at their disposal through night operations that would yield a completely imbalanced war. So while the world is telling you thank you for your service, and while I will also say thank you for your service, get it out of your mind that you were some sort of fucking superhero, right? You were a superhero because you were given the superpowers by our super government to go out there and do a fucking thing. And I'm probably going to take a ton of fucking heat for even saying that.
Night vision's a superpower.
My heroes. And I think, I genuinely think that if I'm talking to fucking other combat vets right now, these guys they'll understand. They will understand. They will agree with me.
Yeah. That guy was probably a POG, dude.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm very glad that they weren't, trained. That's probably why I'm still here.
Right.
That's probably why a lot of us are still here. I mean, you look at the casualties. I mean, you want to see like a real fucking conflict going on right now? Take a look at fucking Israel and Hamas. And within the first, month of this conflict, there have been 12,000 Hamas killed, right? Or 12,000 people in Gaza. I don't know exactly if it was all Hamas and just civilians. I have no idea. But 12,000 people killed.
On the Hamas side.
On the Hamas side, right? And you're looking at, in the entirety of the war in Afghanistan, I believe we lost 3,500 soldiers. And if I may be mistaken, that was the entirety of both Afghanistan and Iraq combined. But it was at least one of the two, if not two of the two.
Right.
Right? Of 2,402 United States servicemen were killed in the war in Afghanistan. Now I'm trying to verify this, but so far as Google is telling me right now, we've got 2455 service members and 10 CIA operatives have died during Operation Enduring Freedom and Operation Freedom's Sentinel, including the 49 who died in support of OEF operations. So OEF is Operation Enduring Freedom. That is the Afghanistan operation, and that was 2,400. And if we go to Iraq, we will find that as of July 19th of 2021, there were approximately 4,400 U.S. service members killed in the Iraq war, right? Putting it at a total, so I will correct myself, putting it at a total
close to 7,000.
Closer to 7,000.
Okay.
Right? So now we're closer to 7,000, which was about twice of what I thought. I thought it was 3,500 in Afghanistan initially. It's actually closer to 2,500. But
25, but 20 years.
The whole point here is that throughout that 20 years, we've had 7,000 KIA, and that is due to our firepower superiority in that conflict. Now, if you want to get into just one conflict, and I'm not talking about just one single battle in the American military in World War II, let's do Battle of the Bulge.
Right.
So Battle of the Bulge. So this was the deadliest single battle. Obviously, we all know that. So the U.S. Army suffered the following casualties in this one battle in World War II. 19,246, which just dwarfs our combined in comparison. That's almost 2.5x in one battle.
Yeah.
One single battle.
That's so gnarly.
Right? 47,000 wounded, 23,000 missing, with a total casualty count of 75,000 in one battle.
Holy shit.
Right. So it puts things in perspective for you a little bit on what those men went through versus what we went through while we were over there.
With equal firepower.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right? And that's what a war fought against somebody who is not fighting in sandals with AK-47s with an absolute lack of air force and heavy firepower and force multipliers looks like. Right? In Afghanistan. So I just want to make that super clear that if, shit ever actually hits the fan with a first world country with an air force and a navy and their special operators of their own, you're going to see
bloodshed.
You're going to see bloodshed to the tune of what's happening in Ukraine.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like those are
pretty equal on both sides.
Just people getting wrecked. Yeah. So, I mean, thanks for the comment, guy.
Yeah.
But
YouTube name 7. 4.
YouTube name 7. Yeah.
7.
So
Appreciate it.
But I think we can all understand that you are operating at a very, very bare minimum baseline when you're training. Odds are that you will be far more geared up and far more capable of being able to handle more superior firepower should you have the opportunity to be a little more prepared.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
and I want to bring this into perspective.
and the still targets, like what, you've got, your
I can't
targets
have moving targets.
Your targets are 10 meters away and they're standing still. Yeah, but you also haven't seen how Nolan and I have trained on the range using a dynamic range and actually moving from point of cover to cover and being able to communicate while we're running down that range. And
which reminds me, we need to do that again.
We need to do that again soon. And so, yeah, there are more ways to just train than with static targets.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah. And I want to bring this into perspective. Quick question.
Yes.
Would you consider Korea a loss for the U.S. military?
I don't know enough about that conflict to answer that question.
I do.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, the only thing that I really know that we came to the conclusion of, look, we're going to create a DMC. We're going to cease fire. This war is still technically happening, but for now, we're going to put it on pause.
Right.
And I think that's really where it's left. Right.
I'm just saying we didn't eliminate communism.
Right. That you said we did or we didn't?
Didn't.
We did not completely eliminate communism.
I consider that a loss.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you go in to do an objective was not set.
Right.
Did you lose the war? That's a valid question.
That's a valid question.
If you've made it this far in the podcast, please
let us know.
answer
I'm
that
curious.
question, because nobody wants to admit a loss, but I think that is a very good question. I mean, as a matter of fact, that you should take that little piece that I said and just put that in the fucking front of the podcast, which if you made it this far in the podcast, please answer the question, because that is one of the best questions that I've heard in a really long time is did we technically lose the war in Korea? Did we technically lose the war in Afghanistan? Well, we first have to define
what a loss is.
What a loss is. And if you went in with an objective and you failed to meet the objective, then you lost the war. Now let's take that litmus test and apply it to Afghanistan. Who is running Afghanistan right now?
Taliban.
Right. Who did we try to prevent from running Afghanistan when we went in there?
Technically Al-Qaeda, but the Taliban.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Same.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Right? So did
Different arms,
so did
same
we
thing.
lose the war?
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Now, was it a specific person's fault? Yes. Yes, it was.
Yes, it was.
Yes, it was. It was. Yeah. It's your fucking commander in queef. He fucking, that idiot. Decided to be fucking.
My butt's been wiped.
Yeah, he decided to be Captain Save-A-Joe.
Yeah.
And, pull all the fucking soldiers out and, just completely undo everything we did for the last 20 fucking years. So congratulations. And then just, instate a whole slew of beheadings and God knows what other atrocities happened while we were over there. And I can get into this for another fucking hour, but let's, you know what I mean? Like, let's just take over all the fucking American equipment that we left there and then build a stronger fucking dude, get the fuck out of here with that nonsense.
You could have at least given it to me.
So now
they consider me on the same level.
So congratulations, because now that they're sending insurgents into all of these territories that I'm sure are going to be fighting in the same places that Americans may be fighting if this actually kicks off. They're all going to be fighting us with our shit that they acquired
Hamas
from
already
Afghanistan.
has our shit.
I know. They've already got it.
God damn it.
In fact, they went through, I saw a couple videos where they went through and they were like, all the shit that Hamas had was some of it was American fucking military gear that was clearly procured from Afghanistan.
Yes.
Dude, it's like, God, it makes me have my mind melts and I have seizures when I think about it. I'm like,
it just falls out your ears.
Where were his advisors when he made the decision to pull everybody out of Afghanistan?
Better question.
And this hit close to home. I'm letting you guys know because my aunt's, now not super close to home, but my aunt's husband's daughter was a Marine killed in the blast in Kabul. Did you know that? Did I ever tell you that?
No.
Yeah. So she was in the blast that was killed in Kabul. So her father married my aunt. Anyway, they went, they went out to Washington, and, Biden did his little song and dance for him and took pictures with him and shit like that, which, it's my family. I'm going to keep it off the podcast. Dude, I wouldn't have went anywhere near that fucking guy. Like, dude, you are the fucking reason that shit went down.
Yeah.
Right? It infuriates me. Well, but he is, again, I'm not a grieving father whose daughter was killed in a combat zone, so I can't speak for his decisions and what he's going to do. I know for me, that would have been my own personal choice to be the farthest possible distance I could be away from the guy who was responsible for my daughter's death.
Right.
And doing everything I could to getting that man impeached for doing so.
Right.
Right. So that would just be my own personal. But again, I could say I'm going to do everything under the fucking sun. But again, I haven't had a daughter who passed away in a combat zone.
Right.
Because of the decisions of one man.
Right.
So, and his administration, because I'm sure they were all, but where were your fucking advisors?
I think the better question
who is like, this is a good idea, man. Let's do this.
I think the better question is, it's not where were his advisors? What instability are his advisors trying to push?
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly.
Right.
There it is. What was the true intent?
Yeah.
The true intent of what was going on.
These people aren't ignorant. They're in power.
No. Yeah. These guys have a fucking
They're running
mission.
the government.
They're like, hey, if we twist some shit up and leave a bunch of shit there and then start this thing all over again, maybe we could generate enough fear to continue to do what we want to do.
Maybe we can jump back in the war.
Dude, and that's a conversation for another podcast.
Right.
I think you'll agree, but you're absolutely right. The underlying intent wasn't just, hey, like maybe we should, there's some underlying motives there that really have to be checked and looked into.
Right.
Because it wasn't an accident. It wasn't an act of good faith. This was, hey, we're smart. We've seen this before. We know what's going to happen. We know what's going to unfold, and we know the type of chaos that's going to ensue when we basically unleash the hounds back into Afghanistan.
Yeah.
Right. They know. They know everything that's going to happen. Yeah. And as soon as those things start to fall into place, they're going to be sitting around their fucking, leather-bound books and rich mahogany, high-fiving each other over some fucking 30-year-old scotch going, yep, it's exactly what we thought was going to happen. And it worked.
Yeah.
So going back to the question, which is,
did we
lose the war?
Right.
We can take that test to Korea. Did we lose the war?
If the goal was to stop communism,
then we lost the war.
We lost the war.
Did we lose the war in Vietnam?
I would say we lost the war in Vietnam.
If the goal is to inherently stop communism, then we do have to ask those difficult questions, right? Did we lose World War II? No. In my opinion, we set out to
stop the Nazis.
We
stopped the Nazis.
To prevent the axis of evil, to taking over the rest of the world.
Until Operation Paperclip happened.
And for the most part, those agendas that we were attempting to thwart, we put a halt to.
Right. Yeah. I would say
we put a halt to. So I would say that was a success. I would say that was a victory, in my opinion.
Right.
Right. And there may be scholars that dissent that opinion. I don't know. I haven't looked enough into other people's opinion on that. But again, leave your comments down below and let us know what you think. And any other conflict that we may have missed that you want to talk about.
So with that, the whole point of asking that question, if to that litmus test we lost Korea, lost Vietnam, and technically lost Afghanistan, the past 3 conflicts that we have lost has all been to men in sandals.
Very true. Very true.
Sandals are the key to winning war.
So if you have any question as to whether or not there is power in the flip-flop,
I just answered it.
You just answered it.
You can have as many force multipliers as you want. Doesn't matter. Do you have sandals? That's the question.
That is the question. Do you have tactical flops? Are you operating with them? Are you training with them? And if you're not, then you're not going to win any wars anytime soon.
You're not going to win any wars. So with that, get some flip-flops.
Win some wars.
Win some wars. Read 1984. And with that,
we bid thee
acquiesce.
May have more explaining to do. The new questions stem from taped remarks of Biden during an April campaign appearance in New Hampshire.
I went to law school on a full academic scholarship, the only one in my class to have a full academic scholarship. Went back to law school and in fact ended up in the top half of my class. I was the outstanding student in the political science department at the end of my year. I graduated with 3 degrees from undergraduate school and 165 credits, only needed 123 credits.
Biden now concedes he did not graduate in the top half of his law school class, that he does not have 3 degrees from college, and that he was not named outstanding political science student in college.
Newsweek says Biden actually went to school on a half scholarship, ended up near the bottom of his class, and won only 1 degree, not 3.
Joe Biden ranked 76th in a class of 85 at the University of Syracuse Law School. I mean, this guy comes off this whole thing as a flyweight.
Now Biden says Newsweek is right. His memory had failed him.
And I